Hi, I'm Professor Mandisa with the Marshall McLennan Agency. And today I want to talk about the increase in cyber attacks that I'm seeing. I mean, just in this last month, I've had 3 clients who were victims of cyber attacks. But it does make sense because with this pandemic, businesses have been operating from a sense of confusion and panic. And a lot of cyber criminals see that as their time to pounce on the opportunity. And to them, it's blood in the waters. I mean, they are really taking advantage of this opportunity. Me, myself, I was a victim of a cyber crime. Quick story. I am the treasurer of a nonprofit here out of Detroit where we raise money for Meals on Wheels. I received the email from our president of the nonprofit who asked me to wire her money, but she asked me to wire her more money than we had in our account. So I called up the president of the nonprofit and verified if she sent this email, and she didn't. So we cleared it up, and we didn't lose any funds. But if this criminal was top of their class, it would have been very hard for me to distinguish between a cyber criminal and from the actual president of the nonprofit. And here's why. But here's what the cyber criminals who are very good at what they do. This is their steps that they follow. What they'll do is they'll hack into your system and shadow a particular person, usually someone in the C-suite or CFO, and they shadow their keystroke so they see exactly how they type, what wording they use. They may figure out when they're going on vacation, who's responsible for what duties. So they wait until the right time after amassing all the information. And then when the time is right, then they send an email to the person who handles the funds, who pays the vendors, and it will look just like it came from the president or just like the person that they're imitating. That type of cybercrime is called social engineering. And social engineering is just what I explained. It's basically when someone hacks into the system and for a brief time assumes the identity of either a vendor or either the president of the organization or someone in the C-suite in order to get someone to send them money or do some things they wouldn't do if they knew who the actual person was. Think of it like catfishing. A lot of people know the term catfishing. I've usually heard it in dating circumstances where someone pretends to be someone else online in order to get an emotion or have them do something that they wouldn't do otherwise. That's exactly what social engineering is. It's similar to catfishing. But another type of claim that we're seeing a lot more of, it's ransomware. Now, a lot of business owners are familiar with the term ransomware if they heard it before, but what ransomware is when a cyber criminal hacks into the system, but they hold the information and your client's information hostage. And a lot of times they'll shut down the system so you can't even work. So you completely shut down until you pay the cyber criminal a ransom, which is why they call it ransomware. And believe it or not, these cyber criminals don't mind stealing from a nonprofit who donates to Meals on Wheels. But they do have some type of weird morality because they will, for the most part, give you your information back if you pay them the ransom that they demand. And they do that because they want to be known as the good cyber criminals, as the good thieves who actually give back the information once you pay them the money because they want the money. That's their main goal. So they don't want other corporations or other nonprofits to say, don't pay those guys. They won't give you the information anyway. So there's some honor amongst thieves, believe it or not. So how do you stop yourself from being a victim from ransomware or social engineering and being a victim of these cyber criminals who have this strange morality code? The way you do that is to plan and prepare to manage cyber risk. And the great thing about planning and preparing is that for the most part, it doesn't cost you anything. Just make sure that you have a procedure in place to how to pay vendors. So there's some kind of check and balances there. So a person isn't a victim of a social engineering claim because they thought it came from a vendor or it came from their president to pay the vendor or wire someone money. So there need to be checks and balances to catch any of those discrepancies. So also make sure you have a response team. So when your system is hacked, and I say when and not if, because it's only a matter of time before you become a victim of a cybercrime. It's not if, it's when. But have a response team. So when you are a victim of a cybercrime, you know exactly how to respond and everyone knows what their duties are. You try to jump on top of the situation as quickly as possible. But in addition to planning and preparing, the best thing you can do is talk to a risk consultant who has an expertise in cyber risk. Because that risk consultant can help you create that insurance program and help you plan and prepare, but they can also look into purchasing a cyber insurance policy, because it's not a matter of if, like I said before, it's a matter of when you will have a cyber attack. Because of that, you want to have a safety net for that cyber attack, for those cyber incidents. And that's exactly what a cyber insurance policy is. It's a safety net. So we're going to do everything that we can to manage that risk, and hopefully we catch it like I did in the email, and we stop it in its tracks before it gets too far. Because cyber criminals, they're very smart. They really want to, they can get into your system. So the best way is to have that safety net there. So that way, if you do have to pay for ransom, if you do have to pay for damages, you have an insurance policy that can pay instead of coming out your own budget. But if you have any questions about managing cyber risk, do not hesitate to send me a private message. But otherwise, stay safe.